Today I will be showing you how to make this dragon, and I will be making this exact one with the fire, and you'll need about 450 single rubber bands to make it, and you can also make it without fire like this one, and you can choose whatever color you want. So let's get started. Let's make the top of the mouth, and first you'll have to make some teeth. You'll have to make a total of 8. So I'll show you how to make one, and you'll need to pause the video to make the other 7. To make the teeth, you're going to take a single white rubber band on your peg, loop it on the top peg, twist it over the second one, and then loop it back up like that. And then you want to go under, grab the bottom band, and pull it onto the center to create a knot. Again, you'll have to make 7 more for a total of 8 teeth. And once you've done that, let's go ahead and make the upper part of the mouth. To make the upper part of the mouth, I'm using blue, taking 2 single rubber bands, and I'm coming down on either side and in the center with 2 single rubber bands. Now on the side, I'm taking a single rubber band and putting it on both sides like that, coming with 2 single rubber bands down the center, and a single to close it off on either side. Now with 2 single rubber bands, we're coming from the center to the tip, the 4th peg on the center, to close it off like that. And let's put some teeth, taking your tooth where you have it, putting the loops on your hook, and putting it on these bands. This one, this one, this one, and that one. A total of 4. Again, get all your teeth and put it on the 4 pegs. Make the nostril. I'm using purple, taking a single purple and looping it 3 times to create 4 loops. Taking a single black, double it, and getting the purple onto there. And we'll do a second one for the second nostril. Taking a single purple, looping it once, twice, and 3 times to make 4 loops on your hook like that. Taking a single, double, and pulling it right onto your hook like so. And since the face is dark blue or blue, whatever color it is, taking that single, double, and pulling the nostrils right onto the single we doubled. So you should have it like that. And now we'll put it across on the 3rd peg to the 3rd peg for our dragon. And make sure you point it down, because the top of his face will be pointing downwards. Now to make his mouth extend a little bit, we're taking 2 single rubber bands, the same color as the top of the face, the mouth, put it from the 4th to the 5th peg, and we'll cap that off by looping it 3 times to create 4 loops, or looping it 4 times total. And taking some holding rubber bands, 2 single rubber bands, and I'm putting it from the 2nd peg to the 2nd peg. And now we're ready to loop up the top of the mouth. Go under the cap band, grab the bottom 2 bands, and looping it onto itself. Go to the next peg, grab the top 2 single, and looping it onto itself. It should go up to the center. Go back in that same peg, grab the next single, looping it onto itself, and you should see teardrops as you're doing this. and continue on either side. Should be single, looping it onto itself. Going to the other side. And now I'm going up the center. And you'll need a holding hook to put this on for later to add to our face. There's the top of my dragon's mouth. Now I'm making the bottom of the mouth. You can use whatever color you want. I'm taking 2 single dark blues and putting it on either side. So that's 2 single rubber bands. And most of my dragon will be purple. So I'm taking a purple, putting it from the second side to the center third, like so. And I'll continue down with purple once on either side, like that. And I'm going to close off his mouth with single purples. And again, you can do whatever color you want. Now for the tongue, I'm taking 2 single reds and coming down the center, like so. I'm taking a single rubber band and I'm going to loop it 4 times, or looping it 3 times to create 4 loops at the end. And let's add the teeth. Get it from where you have it. We're adding it on these 4 pegs. So put your hook through the loops. Now I'm putting some holding rubber bands. Since my mouth is purple, I'm taking a single purple, double it, and putting it across like that. Single, double, and putting it across, like so. Go under the cap band, grab the 2 red rubber bands, and looping it onto itself. Go back in, grab the top single, looping it onto itself, and lastly the bottom single, and looping it onto itself. And now go in where the tongue is, grabbing the single, so that's the 3rd center, and the last single, looping it onto itself. Now let's work the other side. Go in, grabbing the bottom single, looping it onto itself, and lastly go in, grab the side 2 rubber bands, and looping it onto itself. So there's the bottom of your mouth. Take it off of the loom, put it aside for later to add to our face. And now let's make the front of the arms, and this is what it should look like. I've made one, so you'll have to pause the video to make the other one. So taking 4 single rubber bands, and I'm doing a mixture. So I'm doing blue, dark blue, and light blue, 4 of them, any combination you want. And I'm coming down 4 times with 4 single rubber bands. Like that. So that's 4 single rubber bands 4 times. And now we'll make his front claws. So taking a single black, looping it 3 times like that to create 4 loops. Taking your color, single, double it, and pulling the rubber bands onto your single we doubled and getting it onto your hook like that. And we'll do that 2 more times with whatever color you want. I'm doing dark blue, and pulling the rubber bands onto your hook. Last time, single, double, getting your, that's 1 claw, and you'll have to make 2 more. So once again, taking a single black, looping it 3 times to create 4 loops. So there you should have 3 claws, and now we'll add his palm, the base of his. So I'm taking 3 single rubber bands, whichever color you want. I'm getting it on my hook onto my middle finger and pulling the 3 claws right onto the 3 single rubber bands, like so. And get the other side onto your hook and adjust your claws onto the 3 single rubber bands. Should look like that. Now let's make the 4th claw, pushing your rubber bands up a little, taking a single black, looping it 3 times to create 4 loops like that. Taking a single rubber band, double it, and we'll do this twice, pulling the black rubber bands onto the single we just doubled. Do it 1 more time, single, double. So that's our 4th claw. Take 2 single rubber bands, get it on your hook, looping it twice to create 3 loops like that. Now taking 3 single rubber bands, any color you want, getting on your hook, pull the looped rubber bands, the 2 we looped twice, them onto your rubber bands like that. Pull your 4th claw onto the 3 single rubber bands. Now scooch the other set, pulling one side onto your 3 single rubber band. Put your index finger through, take it off on that one side, getting it on the other, and pulling the rubber bands onto your hook and getting it looped like that. So now your 4th claw is onto your hook, and let's add it onto our leg like so. And now let's loop up, go in, pull the foot back, grab the bottom 3 rubber bands, looping it onto itself, creating teardrops, and keep looping up all the way to the top. Like so. Take it off the loom and put it aside. So you'll have to pause the video to make a second one. Come back when you're done. Now we are going to make the back hind legs. So we're taking 2 single rubber bands from the first peg to the second peg, and you can choose whatever color you want. Like so. So 2 single rubber bands parallel. Now we're taking 3 single rubber bands, again whatever color you want, and putting it from the second to the third peg, and we'll do 4 single rubber bands coming down twice. So that's 4 single rubber bands in any color you want. That's what you should have. And now we'll add the paw taking a single black, looping it 3 times to create 4 loops, like so. Taking a single blue, or whatever color you want the claw to be, and scooching it, the black, right onto the single we doubled. And we'll do this 2 more times. Single, double. Single, double. So that should be a total of 3 rubber bands onto the black, like that. Now make 2 more exactly like this. So there are his 3 claws, and now we'll add the foot part like we did for the front foot. This is the back foot. We'll take 3 single rubber bands, whichever color you want, get it on your hook, getting it on your middle finger, and pulling the claws right onto them and looping it onto your hook like that. Make sure they're evenly spread, like so. Now taking 2 single rubber bands, scooch it back and looping it twice to create 3 loops. We're getting it onto the center. So taking 3 single rubber bands and getting it on your middle finger, scooch the 2 we just looped like that, pulling one side of your foot, your claw, onto the 3 single that we just added, getting your hook off one side, transfer to the other, and pulling it through. And we're done for the back foot, and we'll add it to the loom very carefully, getting all your rubber bands onto there. And now let's pull it back and loop up, and we'll put it aside for later. And on this second rubber band, we want to connect our thigh, so we're pulling it out to the side and looping it up for both thigh. And taking it off the loom and putting it on your holding hook for later. So there's my second back legs, and you'll have to make another one. Pause the video, make a second one. Let's make the spikes for the back of our tail and our neck. So to do that, you can do whatever color you want. You'll need a total of 6 of these and a total of 3 for these for the back of his back. So to make this one, I'm taking a single blue, double it, coming from the center peg down 1, taking a single purple, double it, coming down the second to the third. I'm taking this teal, you can do whatever color you want, coming from the third to the fourth, doing yellow, taking a single yellow, double, going diagonally, single yellow, double, and closing it off, creating that B, taking a single orange and going to loop it 4 times, or looping it 3 times to create 4 loops, like that. And again, you'll have to make a total of 6 of these. So now what we are going to do, we're going under the cap band, grab the top 2 yellow and looping it onto itself, go back in the cap band, grab the last 2 yellow, looping it onto itself, reaching down the center, 4th peg, and creating teardrops, just looping it up onto itself. And take it off our loom and put it aside on a hook for later. So there's your spikes, and again you should have a total of 6. So pause the video and make 5 more. And now I'll show you how to make this, and you'll need a total of 3. I already made 2. So to make this is for his back. Taking 2 single rubber bands, putting it from the first to the second peg, like so. Single rubber band, double it, put it from the second to the third peg, single rubber band, double, third to the fourth, and it's the same pattern or color that I used for the other one. It's just the first 2 are 2 single rubber bands instead of single doubling it. And again, you can make it whatever color you want. I'm just choosing this one. Hopefully it'll turn out okay. And we're looping this 3 times to create 4 loops, and go in, grabbing the top 2 rubber bands and looping it onto itself, creating teardrops. Go back in, grab the next 2, and just continue up the center all the way to the top. Like that, and very carefully take it off the loom, and this shouldn't come out. You can just put it aside for later, and again you'll need a total of 3. So come back when you're done. So now let's make the tail, taking a single rubber band, whatever color you want, and I'm coming down 3 times across the top of our loom, like so, with single rubber bands. And now the next set, coming down with 2 single rubber bands on the side, and you can choose whatever color you want. I'm choosing these colors here just to see, and we'll come down with 2 single rubber bands again on either side. And the rest will come down 5 times with a single rubber band. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and repeat on the other side. And now coming down this with 3 single rubber bands, we'll come down twice. One more time to make the tail a little thicker at the base. And we'll come down with 2 single rubber bands twice. And now let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 with single rubber bands. Now I'm closing it off, and you can use whatever color you want. I'm pulling it from the last side peg all the way to the tip of the tail, like that. And we'll come down twice to the very end of our loom with 2 single rubber bands. This is the tip of our tail. Like so. And let's cap it off with a single rubber band by looping it 3 times to create 4 loops. Let's add the spikes that we've made, and we'll need the ones who are on the single we doubled. So get the one that has 6 of them. We're putting one across here from the second peg to the second peg. So very carefully get one. There should be 2 single rubber bands on each side. So taking one side, putting on the second peg, and putting the other side and looping it onto the second peg to the second peg and pushing it in the center like that. And we'll skip one and come down, put another one, same process. There should be 2 rubber bands on each, so I'm putting on the 4th all the way to the 4th peg, like so. That's what it should look like. And skip one, come down the next 2, again, very carefully, adding your spikes down your tail. Skip one, and this is the last one. Like so. So there are your spikes. You should have a total of 4 and 2 left to add onto the neck. And now we're taking a single rubber band, holding rubber bands on the tail, double it, single double, putting it on every other one that we skipped and not putting the spikes on. So single double, single double, single double. So that's what it should look like. And now let's loop up, go under the cap band at the very top of your loom, grab the bottom 2 bands, looping it up and onto itself, creating teardrops. Now you're at the 3rd peg from the bottom, go in, grab the top single, and looping it right onto itself. And keep going. Reach in, grab the next single, and the last single. And you can do any row now that you want. I'll just go up the center of my loom. And you want to always make sure that your spikes is in the center. Just keep looping up. All the way to the top. Now do either side. Make sure you grab just the bottom single, looping up onto itself. If there are 2, then grab the 2. But right now there should be 1, and on the 4th peg there should be 2 single rubber bands. Just loop all the way up and onto itself and do the last one. So there's your tail. Let's take it off the loom, and don't take off the 3 at the top. We'll need it to put it aside for later on a holding hook. So have your hook ready, and you can put it on the same as the back foot hook, because you'll add the tail before the back foot. So there's your tail. Put it aside for later. For the flames, I'm taking some whites to my son wanted it out of the mouth, so here's what it should look like. I'm taking a single white, double it, and we're coming down 3 times, single, double. You can make it whatever color you want. Single, double. So 3 single whites coming down the center. Now I'm taking a yellow, single, double, coming diagonally, single, double, diagonally again, single, double, and I'll come down with yellows twice, single, double, single, double, single, double on the side, and I'll come down with a single white down the center once, and now coming down the center with yellows twice to make the flames, and now I'll come down orange and taking a single, double, I'll come down twice, and you can make it longer than this if you want. Coming down all 3 rows, just orange, making my changing color, single, double. So coming down orange, twice in each row. And now the last color, I'm using red, single, double, and I'll come down, single, double, 3 times for my red, on either side, single, double, so there's my reds, and I'll finish up the center with red. Like so. And taking a single, and we're going to cap the end 4 times. Or you can loop it 3 times to create 4 loops. Whichever one you want to call it, just cap the end pegs off. Now let's put some holding rubber bands, taking a single, double, and putting it across, single, double, so that's what you should have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holding rubber bands. And let's loop up. Go in, grab, and under the cap band, grab the bottom bands, looping it onto itself, creating teardrops as we go. And let's do the sides first. Go under the cap band and just loop all the way up and onto itself, creating teardrops as you go. It's a little tight, but don't force your rubber bands. Just keep going up your flame and onto that center 4th peg. Go on the other side. let's finish up the center. And now let's finish up. Very carefully, this is tight, looping it onto itself. And we'll see if inside the mouth this might be too long. We can always take an extra white or two off. But for now, let's take our flame off our loom. There's my flame, and you don't have to put it on a holding hook. You can just keep it like that. And again, if this is too long, we'll take an extra white off. But let's put it aside for later. And now let's make our dragon. From the top of our loom, taking 2 single rubber bands, whichever color you want, put it diagonally, like so, and coming down once on the side, like that, and then we'll close it off. You won't make the face that big. Like so. Come down the center of his face with 2 single rubber bands. And closing it off, and make sure you push down the chin peg rubber bands. Now let's come down the neck with a single rubber band, going out diagonally on the sides, and we'll come down 3 times with a single rubber band. Repeat on the other side. Like so. And the last 2, we're taking 2 single rubber bands and putting it down the side like that. So that is his neck. And now let's come down the center of his neck with 3 single rubber bands. And again, you can use whatever color you want. 3 single rubber bands will come down 4 times. So that's his neck, and now let's start the body with 2 single rubber bands coming diagonally. We want to push our rubber bands down. We're going to add more to it. 2 single rubber bands coming diagonally for the body, and we'll come down the sides 3 times with 3 single rubber bands. On either side. And now for the next 2 on the sides, we're coming down with 2 single rubber bands. So we're almost to the end of our loom here. You can use whatever color you want. And for the last 2, to close it up, we're taking 2 single rubber bands, going diagonally like that on both sides. And coming down the center, we'll come down with 3 single rubber bands, any color you want. Come down 3 times with 3 single rubber bands. And the last two, to close it up, we'll do 2 single rubber bands. So that's what your dragon should look like so far, all the way to the bottom. Now let's add the tail. Take it from your hook, and you want to put the spikes going downwards, and there should be 2 rubber bands per set, and you want to put it on this peg, and this peg, so the 3 end pegs. So just get it. There should be again 2 single rubber bands on each, and pull it under and put it on the 3 end pegs at the bottom. And you want to push it down so it doesn't come off, and make sure all the rubber bands are on your peg. Take a single rubber band and let's cap that end peg at the center end peg there 3 times to create 4 loops, like so, to hold our creation together. Now let's put on the spikes for the neck. There should be 2 of them left. And we want to put it on the first here, the 3rd pegs across. So there should be 2 rubber bands on each side. Just put it on the pegs and stretch it all the way across. So it's from the 3rd to the 3rd. And the next one we'll put it on the 5th to the 5th. So that should be our last 2. Make sure that the spikes go in the center, between the center pegs. And let's put holding rubber bands, taking a single, double for our neck area. Put it where the spikes aren't. Single, double, like so. And now we're going to add the spikes for the body. So there should be 3 of them. And it should be on 2 single rubber bands. So putting it from the next 2 pegs down across. So that should be the 2, 4, 6, 7th peg from the top. Put it from the 7th peg to the 7th peg and skip 1 set. We'll put the next one, there should be 3 of them. And your last one. On the 3rd peg from the bottom. There should be the spikes on your back, and always make sure to push it in the center. And if you want to add wings, then you would try to make your wings and put it on 2 single rubber bands like we did on these spikes, and just go ahead and add it on here and push the wings in between these 2 rows here, but I'm not adding any wings. So now let's put some holding rubber bands, taking 2 single rubber bands and putting it across where the spikes aren't, like so. So there should be 2 sets of holding rubber bands. And now let's add the hind legs, and there should be 2 sets, 4 rubber bands each. We're adding it from the 2nd peg and the 1st peg, the bottom of his body. Make sure you get all the rubber bands onto those pegs so it doesn't come apart. Do the same thing on the other side. His hind legs are on. And let's loop up. Go under the cap band where the tail is. Pull it back. You're going to grab the top 2 rubber bands and looping it onto itself, creating teardrops. Go back in, grab the next top 2 and looping it onto itself, creating teardrops. Make sure you push it down, my rubber bands are pretty slippery. And find the last 2. Let's add the arms, and we want to add it so that way the 4th claw is near the body. So position your arms, get your hook through the 8 loops like that, and add it onto the arm peg. And that should be the 2, 4, 6, 7th peg from the top. Get all your rubber bands onto there. There's one of his arm. Add the other one. There's his front arms. And now let's continue looping up to the arms. Reach in, grabbing the bottom 2 bands, looping it onto itself. Continue up your side. So there's lots of rubber bands here. Hold it down, and you want to reach in and grab the shoulder rubber band, and don't grab the bottom 2. So reach in, look through the side carefully, grabbing the 2 shoulder rubber bands and carefully looping it onto the neck peg there like that. And let's do the other side. Go in, grab the bottom 2, just continue up the side. Make sure you grab the bottom 2 bands and looping up. Go in the shoulder peg, make sure you pull everything back, look under, and grabbing the top 2 for the shoulder pegs, or the shoulder rubber band, and looping it right onto itself. And now let's finish up the center of the body. All the way to the neck peg, like so. And now let's do the side of the neck. Go in the shoulder peg, grab the bottom 2, looping it onto itself, and just continue up all the way to the chin peg. Make sure you pull back any holding rubber bands, don't loop that up. Now let's loop up the center of the body, or the neck. Go in, grab the bottom 3, and looping it onto itself, creating teardrops, and continue up the neck all the way to the chin peg, like so. Reach in the chin peg, pull all the rubber bands back, grab the top 2, looping it up, the next top 2, and the last two. There's your dragon so far. And let's add the eyes. I'm making mine red, taking a single red, looping it 3 times to create 4 loops, taking a single black, double, pulling my eye right onto this black rubber band, repeat on the other side for the other eye, there are my 2 eyes. Now I'm putting it on a single rubber band to put on my face, and I'll put it from the first peg to the first peg across, like so. Spread out my eyes, and let's make the horns for the dragon, and you can make it whatever color you want. I'm going to first make the side one, so make it smaller, taking a single rubber band and looping it 3 times to create 4 loops, like that. Taking another single, double, and getting the looped bands on to the single we just doubled. And do that one more time for the side horn. So that's what you should have, and add it like on the ear peg, so the side pegs. Repeat one more time for the other horn. Like so. Add it to the first side peg on the other side. And now we're doing the center. I'm making mine a little longer, and you can do it whatever color you want and whatever length you want. Taking a single rubber band, again looping it 3 times to create 4 loops, and we'll just repeat the process with 5 single rubber bands. That's my 4th, my last one. And then adding it to the top. So that's my last horn. And let's add the face, the mouth. So I'm adding the bottom first. I'm going to add it on the second side peg and the other second side peg. So there should be 4 single rubber bands on the 2 sets, and just pull it, put one set on the second peg on the side, pull it under the 3rd peg in the center, and put the other side. Make sure you get all the rubber bands onto those 2 pegs there, and push it down so it doesn't come off. And now we're going to add the fire. For the fire, let's take your fire and put your hook through the loops, and there should be 4 together. Get it on your hook like so. And if you don't want to add the fire, you don't have to. So this is the part where you add the fire. So take all your rubber bands off the loop on the second peg in the center, so it's completely off your loom like that. All those rubber bands, there should be 4 of them, and you want to pull the fire right onto those rubber bands, and then looping it right back onto that second peg, and make sure you get all the rubber bands back onto that second peg. So the fire is on, and again you want to add it under or after the lower mouth has been added. So there's the fire. Now let's add the top of the mouth. there should be 4 rubber bands on each for each peg, and you're adding on these 3 pegs on the face. So it's the second pegs on the left side. Make sure you get all the rubber bands on there. Get your fire in between. 4 single rubber bands on the second peg in the center. And the second peg on the right side. Like so. And make sure you keep it down. Don't let the rubber bands come off. Now go in the side peg, grab the bottom 2, and looping it up and onto itself. Let's do the other side so the rubber bands doesn't come off. Go in, grab the bottom 2, and looping it up and onto itself, creating teardrops. And let's finish up to the top of the head. Go in, grab the bottom 2 bands onto the center forehead. Same thing on the other side. Go all the way under, grab the bottom 2, looping it onto itself. And finally the last 2 rubber bands in the center, the face, and looping it onto the very top peg, that one. Take our holding rubber band, or slip knot rubber band, the single, put your hook through the center peg, loop it up, and put it on your finger, pull your horn up, push your hook through, and pull your slip knot rubber band so we don't tie it around the horn. Get it on one side and tie it off like so. So your slip knot rubber band is under the horn. And now let's take it off the loom carefully. So there's your dragon with the fire, and you can leave the eyes. You can tuck in the charm string if you want. Let me get it out of the way here. So you can see, and pull the arms down and pull the tails out. And you can leave the eyes up in the front like that if you want, or you can pull it to the side like I did here for him to look on the side. So I'm just going to leave it up the front for this one. And if you want, pull the neck rubber band so he'll look up more. Pull the chin rubber bands, and you can also stick something in there so he's looking like paper clip or whatever you want to make the neck stiffer. So there's your dragon. I hope you like him. Thanks for watching.